Good morning, everyone. My name is Michal Hladký. I'm a director of Creative Industry Košice, which is a legacy organization of the European Capital of Culture. And I'm very happy to welcome you here all at PLACE conference, which is final conference of one really interesting project called Košice 2.0. And today I'm here as a host, and also I'm here to represent the project. So I will go and guide you through the presentation about Košice 2.0, but first, some useful information. So refreshments, coffee, and everything is in the hall opposite side. The whole conference will be held in English. And after every speaker, there will be a Q&A. So I really hope that you are keen to ask questions, our distinguished guests. So the lineup, you might seen before if you checked our webpage, but it's quite interesting. We have people really passionate about cities, about data, about services, about everything which makes cities, and in particular our city, better for the future. So without any further ado, I will start my presentation, but first of all, I would like to say thank you to all the partners. We are 9 partners in the project. I'm not going to name them all. You might have seen them on the presentation, on the screen, or for those who read about the project, you might have seen them at the webpage. So Košice 2.0 is a project supported by Urban Innovative Actions. Well, and Urban Innovative Actions is a program which really supports cities to experiment, to foster innovation, to really support development from different perspectives. So the solutions which the project under UIA should bring are unseen, unproven, some new stuff in the cities. In particular, it's in the city of Košice. So at the beginning of a project, we selected 3 main challenges, which is, of course, economic transformation. For Košice, it's very crucial, it's still ongoing. It's something between heavy industry, IT sector, knowledge economy. So, and thanks to all the culture development is creative industries, and we're heading somewhere, hopefully very soon, bringing innovation as a competitive advantage for the city. The second challenge, very important, and we kind of see it on a wider scale, if not on a Slovak scale or nationwide scale, it might be global. It's civic engagement and trust, and I would emphasize the word trust. That's very, very crucial and very let's say, a high-level challenge we face, and all the countries and all the cities face. And then, of course, it's where we're coming from. It's creative industries and culture, so creative industries and culture infrastructure as enabler for innovation in the city. So we decided to went for the strand of culture heritage, and we approach the whole project from the perspective of what we call contemporary culture heritage. That means maybe 15 years in the development of a city, where it all started maybe 2007-08 with a process of bidding for European Capital of Culture. Then the European Capital of Culture came, and then the legacy of the European Capital of Culture. In 2017, City of Košice joined the really vast network of creative cities called UNESCO Creative Cities Network, in particular in media arts. And that was done on purpose because in now it's 15 years, let's say, there was a really huge development in IT, thanks to IT Valley and all the companies landing here, bringing their operations and growing in numbers in those years. And same happened or very similar happen in culture and creative industries because of the European Capital of Culture and all the endeavor and understanding of a city that culture might be a driver. So this gave us access to more than 300 cities all around the globe. And something which is looking for the next 15 years is something which happens just last year and is really ongoing this year, is something called KIC, Knowledge and Innovation Community. Some of you might know that there is an interesting tool of a European Commission under the Horizon Europe, which is called EIT, European Innovation and Technology Institute, which runs those KICs. Today, there's 9 KICs in different sectors. It's digital, it's climate, it's health, it's food, and culture creative industries came last, and we've been so lucky that we are part of this consortia, over 50 partners, and we'll be growing in next years, and we'll be able to bring innovation within the culture creative industries, but also what culture creative industries could bring to other sectors. And in our case, it's city, urban development, and whatever connects to that. So we're really looking forward to that. And in Košice, there will be one of the co-location centers. One of a distribution agency or representation of this knowledge and innovation community will be in Košice, let's say, operating Poland, Czech Republic, Slovakia, Hungary, Romania, Bulgaria, and Ukraine. So this is something which gives us hope for next 15 years. And what we really believe is that culture and creative industries is a strategic driver for urban development, or at least there are cities which really understand this. And coming back to Košice 2.0, one of the major goals of the project is increasing or improving the well-being. So that's what we think is very important, that the cities really understand what makes their citizens, I wouldn't say happy, but living well in well-developed cities, really covered with well-developed services. So that's what we're trying to do and trying to improve within the scope of a project. So we're really looking at the services city is providing to its citizens. But the major thing, and that's what we also learned during the project, is that city has to be citizen-centric. That was clear from the beginning. But what we need to achieve it is we need a culture shift. We need the shift how city is approaching the way it operates, and also how all the stakeholders are approaching the way how they operate and collaborate. That's super important. So we looked at it from different perspectives. We wanted to bring, or we still want to bring, innovation, sustainability, and something which is really, I wouldn't say new, but in Slovak and specifically in our context, it might shine very, very new. It's data-driven decision-making. But how? So we really tested, brought and piloted different means of co-creation, different approaches to cross-sectorial collaboration, and different aspects of how to use art, design, and culture activities for research, for raising awareness, for communicating the messages or whatever being researched or findings of a research, let's say. Also, for the sustainability, it's super important that we build a community and participation, and we looked at it from different perspectives. It's super important to know and engage the citizens, the civic side, but also the businesses, startups, entrepreneurs, because that's where the wealth is created, and also organizations and stakeholders from a public sector. So we decided also to run several capacity building programs and also to support entrepreneurship via different means like acceleration programs, etc. And for the data-driven decision-making, it's super important to run a research, continuous research to understand what's going on in the city, to bring a transparency, so any data city is collecting are somehow distributed or enabled for other use, either for the businesses, research, or other sides. And the interpretation, because whatever data you collect, you need to see the patterns, you need to understand what's going on, and somehow, for the decision makers, you need to interpret and, let's say, tell them what we see in the data. So what we did, or what we're doing all the time. So we created something which reminds me innovation ecosystem. It's quite complicated, let's say, but in the middle of everything we did is something what we called Citizen Experience and Wellbeing Institute. It's a R&D or analytical unit based in our organization in Creative Industry Košice, and it really looked at city from 3 different perspectives. So we run research on well-being, trust, and many issues I already mentioned before. But also we run research which use art or artistic interventions, excuse me, artistic interventions as a means of gathering data or interpreting data. So we collect, understand, interpret data, and try to understand the city and interpret it and make it transparent. So together with the city of Košice and IT Valley, we established open data platform where we help to publish data sets and we help to make transparent and relevant what's going on in the city and what data are telling us about this city. So whoever is interested, you can go there and see what kind of data is, and it's still growing. And we also do, I wouldn't call it academical research, but we do research for the reasons of not publishing articles, but the reasons for forecasting, understanding the different phenomena, and helping us to understand the city, but also helping general public and decision makers to understand what's going on in the city. So there was research. Institute also works on public services. So what we do at the moment, we do a mapping of the public services to understand what kind of services city is providing and how and for whom. And also we use different methodologies. One we really admire is from Estonia from 2014, and it helps us to have a guideline that at the beginning, city is providing services, or the understanding of the services is from the legal perspective, what city has to deliver or is obliged to deliver because there is a law. But what we started to do is that we really look deep in the services and trying to categorize them, trying to really draw the map, basically, which service is where and how it's delivered, what kind of law is ruled by, and who can deliver, where are overlaps. So at the end, it should help city to optimize, it should help city to understand better, to see gaps, and to see where there can be an improvement, basically. But it's not only, let's say, meta level of mapping what we do. In every department of a city, we ask for what's their urgency or what they want to change first, or what's the main priority, and then we pilot it. So we use different methods like design thinking, design sprints, draw the customer journeys, help city really to do workshops with those people responsible for the services, designers, citizens, and any other professionals who might say something to a particular kind of service. and then we prototype. We also use our partner from Technical University, Faculty of Arts, and students of design. In this concrete example, it's the Office of a First Contact, which at the moment is undergoing the transformation, and we help them to create the navigation system, or the system how, you know, the design of a navigation. And the third part of our endeavor is public space. So we have a mobile unit. It's a car, basically, you can say, and it can drive around the city, and it can really map and explore the public spaces, help engage citizens, and really can help us to get closer to either places, spaces, or citizens to understand what's going on. And also we run discussions, and we try to be inclusive in understanding public space, understanding what are their needs, and where we should go next. So that was Citizen Experience and Wellbeing Institute, but there are other parts of the project which are super important for us, and that's an education or capacity building. Because if you want to work with different stakeholders, you really want them to understand what you're talking about, what is your mental framework, where we want to go. So we decided to run a capacity building programs on a municipal level, on a citizen level, and our partner from Technical University also decided to create a new study programs at the Economical Faculty to basically fill a pipeline with the bright minds of young people being keen to really do an analytical stuff around urban development. So you might know this guy. He's quite famous at this time, and this is Ludovic Odor. In that time he was, or maybe he still is, the deputy governor of the National Bank, and he ran for us a program called Value for Money. But we also brought design thinking and participation and other programs for the municipality. For the citizens, it's citizen science. So we want to, that's the basic idea. We want to use crowdsourcing. So we want to use citizens as an extended research body. So we're going to learn them how to use sensors. We're going to use them. We're going to learn them how to work with data. And if they are keen and they're interested, they might collect the data for city or for their smaller projects. So it's just win-win. So they learn something during the educational program, but they also can contribute to something for the city in the future. So there's also participation, design thinking, and data for culture creative industries, because we still, as a creative industry Košice, we still care for what's going on in that sector. So I already said that the Technical University set up a study program. So this is Professor Hudec, who couldn't be here, so just he's somewhere abroad. And another part of the project is something what we called Urban Innovation Sphere, but basically it's a series of programs supporting innovation and community, mostly the community of young entrepreneurs, of people who are now gathering around the Bravo Hub, which is one building here in Kasarne. So we run hackathons. We run them ourselves, or we connect to something bigger. In this case, it's the Slovak Košice Hack, which is the biggest event or biggest hackathon in Košice. We also do meetups to support the community, to support those entrepreneurs, creative people, or anyone who's interested in any topic around culture, creativity, entrepreneurship, data, IT, whatever. So we run those programs, and we run something which is really important. It's acceleration programs for startups. And we believe that city has many challenges, obviously, but it doesn't need to solve them or address them on its own. So there are bright minds, entrepreneurs, companies out there, or NGOs, who already work on such topics or challenges, and they really, really can help. So the Challenger program is, again, win-win situation. The entrepreneurs got acceleration programs, so education, capacity building, how to access market, whatever funding. But we always use challenge from the city to raise their awareness, to raise their interest, basically, of a program. And at the end, the winning idea is accommodated by the city. So like in this case, it's your locks, it's the special, let's say, booth or device where there is a exercise equipment for public spaces stored, and there is an app, and you can just rent it for a few hours and use basketball or whatever, frisbee. And there is a third part of how we support communities, and it's via specific, it's a grant scheme or support scheme for civic organizations or individuals who wants to work with the community or who wants to work with their public spaces. It's a really, let's say, low threshold grant scheme for smaller projects up to 5,000 euros, so they can really use that money and really make a change, really small changes in their communities. So I already mentioned Bravo Hub. So part of a project is also like making the infrastructure better, and not that it wouldn't be, but we might need some new things in Bravo. Because in 2013, we thought that all the entrepreneurs will be here and etc. And it didn't work because of the rules of a law of a regional operational program. But since 2019, we came back, and at the moment, the Bravo Hub is full with entrepreneurs and creative people and organizations supporting either business or creative industries. So we needed Fab Lab, we needed co-working space, which is there already, and we needed meetup space where we can do a smaller meetings, we can support that community sitting there, working there in Bravo Hub. And from time to time, we have really interesting visits or people to talk to and to spread the word about the project, about what we do here in Košice. And talking about spreading word, we also run activities which are for raising awareness, because there are many topics which are super important, and we can't cover everything within the project, but we can really use different ways how to raise awareness. So we use artistic interpretation of how to approach climate change in the exhibition, which is called Choice 2050, or in Slovak it's Volba 2050, and was from different artistic perspective explore the threats and let's say what climate change could bring. We also helping to spread or raise awareness about the situation in Ukraine and how it could affect us. We also run other projects to support collaboration with Ukraine or directly refugees. But I'm not going to mention it here, but in level of discussions, awareness raising, that's what we do within the project as well. So that's where we use a format called Urban Talks, and it's a format adopted from another project, but we run it now under Košice 2.0 to bring really interesting people to discuss really important topics. Like in this case, we invited the mayors from the top 3 cities, or the 3 biggest cities, if you can say like this, in Slovakia, discussing leadership and how to really, what's the role of the leaders within the cities and urban development. But we also go on, let's say, a more personal level. This one is Vic Marash, the guy who runs transformation workshops using his specific methodology from Landmark and working with the people and businesses to help them get rid of the filters, get rid of the make a barrier to act, to really do something because we think we can't. So that's where the transformation is. And we also use top-class world artists here in Košice to interpret the data. So this is really, let's say, intimate work placed in East Slovakian Gallery. So for those who have time, please go there and look at how he used artificial intelligence to interpret the data about the wind. So the art piece is called Wind of Košice, and it's done by Refik Anadol. You can find him in MoMA or wherever in the world as well. So what we've learned during the project, we learned a lot, but basically what we learned, what's super important is that whoever works in a city wants to develop something or deliver something needs a place or possibility for experiment, being a very small, large scale, no matter what. But if you don't have this, you're just in the loop, in the rolling circumstances, and then you can't really breathe, you can't really have this, let's say, emptiness, this place where the ideas could pop up. What we've learned as well is that we still, and it might really imply for many other sectors, we still live in silos, and that's something which really needs to be break down. So cross-sectorial, multidisciplinary collaboration, or edges between disciplines, that's where innovation happened. And one thing which we maybe need to work more on is just how to communicate the urgency. How to really communicate that we need to do something, otherwise we might not be able to reverse. So what's the urgency now? Because the project's almost over and there's life, life of a city, so the time won't stop. So the urgency as we see it, so you might all know it, from a demographic perspective, Košice lost almost 10,000 people, and understanding that whatever happened on national level with the law and legislation, which also made a huge loss in the budget of a city, is that the major source of income, how it is set at the moment in Slovak legislation, is the tax from taxpayers, from the residents of the cities. So this might be really critical, losing population, not even financially, but we're losing talent and we're losing opportunity. And that just adds up to all the crises which we lived in at the moment, being COVID, being war, being economic, being energy crisis. So it all really like scream for transformation, doing something differently. And this is the opportunity. So I would just stay in line of what was UIA before is now EUI. And there is a new call coming in May, and it has a very specific topic or strand. It's called Harnessing Talent in Shrinking Cities. So we can consider somehow Košice and the East Slovakian region as a shrinking city or region. So that's where we're going to aim for. And maybe it's time to really set high goals and time to think about the city and where we would be, not in 5, 10 years, but maybe in 20, 30 years. So let's think about the city with 1 million, why not? And what it could bring. So we allow Košice. Thank you very much. Hope I'm still in time. And if you have any questions, I can answer. Or if not, I will just continue and switch to my moderation role.